I'm talking about these elemental forces, the green, the gray, the blue, the red, but there's still a plethora more out there. Another prominent one being the black, aka the rye, which will be talked about in another video. And this video, I'm gonna be talking about the one-off realms that we've seen, ones that don't have much lore that like pertained around them. Starting with what I believe is arguably the most strongest elemental force out there, being the divided. The divided is the representation of microorganisms, the most prominent one being bacteria. And they're so unknown, so potent, mind you. Not only did it evade the eyes of other elemental powers like the green, it also can afflict its users despite them being avatars. The main reason the divide is not prominent on Earth is because the monkeys, humans, created antibodies in order to counteract them, so its pull isn't as strong there compared to like the green, for example. Despite there being plethoras of different bacteria and microorganisms, the divide is ruled by one singular entity, and they are so bored that the only thing they can do is fight with themselves. The reason I note that the divided is probably the strongest of all elemental forces is because it naturally adapts, just like bacteria and viruses do, to anything it encounters. The longer it fights, the stronger it gets, and for billions of years, it's been doing nothing but fighting itself. The reason why the divide is locked away is just because of how potent it is. Now, it can infect every other aspect of elemental forces. There's bacteria in everything: plant life, animal life, water, moisture, etc., etc. There's no parliament, there's no current avatar. Honestly, they don't even have a president on Earth all too much. But there is always a chance because someone like Poison Ivy might be like, hey, I'm already fucking with the gray, let me add some microorganisms to my belt. With all that being said and done, at least in terms of the divided, this comic also introduces or reinforces another elemental force as well, the metal. The metal, otherwise known as multiple forces of technology, is also used as a counterbalance force to these opposing forces. The green hates metal because technology and structures destroy the green, but the metal is also used in order to balance things like bacteria and the gray from creating more new mushrooms, bacteria, etc., etc. Then you have to realize that none of these elemental forces would be able to exist without the other. They're kind of all equal. Metal, unlike the divided, however, actually does have a story arc dedicated to it, which is in the Swamp Thing issue number 12. Oculus, a entity of the metal, is wishing to overcome the entire planet in metal. As you would expect, thanks to the forces being in balance, other elemental forces like the green have to step in order to try to counterbalance everything. After a long, egregious fight with multiple heroes assisting Swamp Thing, eventually, they're able to put Calculus down. The only way to actually keep him down was to convert his physical being or seal away his physical being, because he's also an avatar in plant life. Next up is the white. You expect through most elemental things, you have earth, fire, water, and air. We have no clue what the Parliament does, how active they are, if they have any avatars. This is practically the only major sighting we get of these. We just know that based off this series, they are a counterbalance to the melt, which I'll be talking about later on. It's practically Earth. Unlike other elemental forces, they actually do have a parliament of vapors. Speaking of the melt, this force, as you would expect, pertains to earth, rocks, sediment, things like that. Similar to the metal was going to be used to tip the balances of all the elemental forces and take over the world, Swamp Thing had to step in order to, again, counterbalance everything. Similar to the vapors and other, like literally the whole purpose of this video, outside of this one instance, we don't really get much else of the melt. There's a chance we could get more, but we don't know yet. But not least, one I surely know a majority of you do not know is the wild realm. Think of this as just a neutralistic realms for everybody, every animal species to just box out.